for our panel discussion on innovation of CX for financial services, scaling operations for the bold future. Well, we're looking at talking about embracing a true CX focus and driving innovation in the customer experience, how customer-first mindset is critical to long-term financial success, how can financial service be future-ready with CX-led digital transformation, scaling operational transformation with cloud, building seamless customer-centric operations and digitized processes to become more proactive, predictive, and resilient. Well, for this, we're going to be joined by our eminent panelists. First up, I'd like to now invite on the stage and screen Arivuvel Ramu, the Group Chief Technology Officer, Tonik. Well, Ramu brings over 18 years of expertise in information technology, enterprise architecture, product development, IT operations, innovation, and security from the banking and telco industries. Thank you so much, Arivuvel, for joining us today.
Thank you. Great to meet you all, and humble to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're also now joined by Chatrudee, who's the EVP Customer Experience Management Bank of Ayudhya, Krungsri, who's joining us. Well, Chatrudee is the head of the customer experience at the Krungsri Bank, Thailand, with more than 20 years of experience in banking, both local and international banks, and 5 years of experience, especially in customer-centric transformation and CX in the banking sector. Thank you so much, Chatrudee, for joining us today.
Hi, nice to meet you all, and nice to have me here today.
Likewise, thank you for joining us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to call upon stage and screen Huailuk, the head of Digital Business Development Operation, Government Savings Bank. Well, Mr. Khwanchai specializes in the area of business process improvement, automation, customer experience management, innovation, digital transformation related roles with leading banking and manufacturing industry, where he currently earned his M Engineering and Bachelor's in Engineering and Executive Mini MBA studies, and has Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. So with this, thank you so much, Khwanchai, for joining us today. You're on mute.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me today. Happy to join.
Likewise, thank you so much. We also, ladies and gentlemen, have Cubelo, the Customer Experience Division Head, RCBC Bankard, joining us. Well, a strategic customer engagement practitioner for 16 years, serving all operational layers and channels, managing operations in close collaborations with supply chain, logistics, marketing, and IT, with a focus expertise on process improvement, service level enhancement, and customer experience. With this, I'd like to now call upon stage and screen Pepper for joining us. Thank you, Pepper.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Likewise, thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to call upon the stage and screen Anthony Rogalski, Solution Consultant User Testing. Well, Anthony, being the Senior Solution Consultant for User Testing, has worked as a Customer Experience Analyst and a Sales Engineer for 4C, where he consulted organizations on the CX best practices and strategies, specializing in the financial services industry. Thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Likewise. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to call upon the moderator for this session, Alicia Callan, the Customer Workflow Solution Lead, Asia ServiceNow. Well, Alicia helps companies create workflows to streamline operations across the enterprises and reimagine the art of the possible in customer experience. She's worked across the region for the last 9 years. Thank you so much, Alicia, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Right, so ladies and gentlemen, with this, we've got our eminent panel on the stage and screen. If you do have any questions, please post it up in the Q&A tab. We shall take it up at the end of the session if time allows. But with this, I'd now like to pass on the live reins to Alicia to take it forth with her panel. Over to you, and let's have a great panel ahead.
Sure, thank you so much. So just thanks everyone for joining our conversation today. We're really quite excited about it. And I just wanted to start off by saying, look, in today's world, banks have been put under immense pressure to conduct operations remotely, many oftentimes having to keep branches open while navigating COVID regulations and continue to navigate these rapidly changing demands of the customer. So, thinking about this, the customer experience has greatly been impacted. Many banks and financial institutions are faced with churn, loss of market share. The employee experience is also down. Employees are burnt out because organizations are dealing with sick leave, stay-home orders. So employees are having to do a lot more with a lot less. So what can companies do to help keep things moving forward? So I'm really excited about the topic today, which is talking about how organizations can innovate in customer experience to scale operations and drive for a better future. So with that, I'd like to open up to the panel for our first question today, which is thinking about, how can we embrace a true customer experience focus and drive innovation in the customer experience? And if I can just please ask to Khwanchai, maybe first, would you like to respond?
Thank you. Thank you for question. So now the customer are feeling value and frustrated, and this apply emotion that govern brand decision making process. Hence, building understanding this emotion as a customer experience measurement is critical to guide experience design and govern operational. So, why is customer experience as a key differentiator? As we know, the customer journey start from awareness and consideration and usage, then satisfaction, and then preference and retention. So the first perspective from customer, they are being on brand drive emotion, and from brand drive emotion into being on a CX or meaning customer experience and then operation emotion. So the company should be support the customer by creating attention in terms of drive emotion and communicate and value and promise. Initiate interest to purchase the customer. That meaning when the customer drive emotion in terms of customer experience is the meaning operationalized emotion is the create affinity and build loyalty and advocacy and growth spend. As we know, customer experience will overtake the price and product as a key brand differentiate, and 82% of brand perceive a customer's experience as a competitive differentiator. This is from Deloitte. So the common pitch for extensive customer experience, which our understanding customer need indeed, and key to success the customer experience focus on result as you evaluate the entirety of customer journey and then apply the innovation to serve customer needs. That is my perspective. Thank you.
Khwanchai, I think that was a great answer. I really like some of the things you said there. I mean, I really like the part where you said that the customer experience is going to overtake price and product. I think that gives us all job security for the next while, which is great. But no, I think that's great. I also really liked how you talked about, we need to support the customer with their emotion, and we need to be receptive and hearing and understand them if they do have emotion, and be really understanding of that. And also about creating affinity and advocacy, right? It's so easy for customers to churn. So the more we can do to prevent customers from doing that and creating that loyalty will really help us to drive that relationship better in the future. Chatrudee, do you have anything you'd like to add to that point?
Yes, I think definitely in these situations, like the rapid change of the customer behaviors and technologies is quite go very fast together with the crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's put up everything's moving to digital. I think everyone known about that. I think many organizations trying to do something for these situations. Why we need to, I think two things is very important. The first thing is about how we can keep and maintain our core business with our current market. And another one is about how can we explore for the big business opportunities or even seize the white space outside financial sectors. I think many financial service think around that. And anything that you need to do on both sides. I think the most important that we need to put the customer at the center of our strategies. To maintain our core business or the core legacies, we also need to keep improving or consistently improve customer experience, because customer experience is not a project. It's not one time and then end. It could be evolve, align with the behavior, the change rapidly, right? In another side, we need to drive from the customer value propositions to find the new service or the new product to the market, or even seize the white space, find the opportunity outside the financial sector. That will be create a lot more in terms of the business strategies, in my view. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chatrudee. Can you give us an example of what this like white space might look like for banks to explore outside of the traditional core banking model that you're talking about?
I think we have like very strong in terms of the financial service to the customer, right? Even all the financial service to the customer, to the market that we exist. Beyond that, I think currently banking sector or the financial sector, we have a lot of assets that we can monetize, we can partner with others, because nowadays we don't need to build everything by our own, right? It's probably too late to the market. Probably we can partner with someone or the cooperate with someone to run some other business by firstly existing our resources, meaning that our asset, our people, our literacy, our technology that we currently have, because of we quite strong in terms of the financial servicing already. So the white space will be another things that we need to do, and I think many organizations need to think about that. I think the winner in the future, probably they need to manage and penetrate in terms of multiple business model. Yeah, that's what my view. But everything that I said, put the customer at the center of your strategies, you will win.
Absolutely. I think that's so true. And, many companies are trying to do that, but don't actually really mean it, right? They still try to come at the customer from different angles, and they really don't have a 360-degree view of the customer. And so I think the more that we can really make that a strategy, that's how only way it's going to actually happen. And in my experience, the only places where it's very effective is where it really comes down to the absolute top. And it has to be like the CEO or COO that says, our customers are going to be really at the center, and we're going to then change our entire operations around that. So yeah, thank you so much, Chatrudee. Ms. Pepler, how about you? I mean, RCBC is a top 5 bank in the Philippines, and you guys have quite a diverse set of products and portfolios. And I know many challenges in the Philippines throughout COVID. It's, I think, been one of the toughest lockdowns in the Philippines across the region.
Yeah, that's right, Alicia. The lockdown here in the Philippines has been going on for almost 2 years now, running 18 months to be exact, I think. And it's quite really it has been quite a challenge right now for the Philippine industry, because a lot of businesses has closed down for quite a long time, and of course it has actually hit the economy quite big. But the good thing about the industry, especially the banking industry here in the Philippines, Filipinos are really known for their resiliency. So that's actually one thing that actually keeps us going. And in terms of customer service, in terms of customer experience, I think echoing what Chatrudee and Khwanchai mentioned earlier, the center of any business is customer service. And when you talk about customer experience, it's an end-to-end process. So we consider the pain points of the customers from start to finish. When we innovate, the purpose of our innovation is to focus on resolving the customer pain points on each phase of their journey. However, that in itself should not be the sole driver for innovating. True customer focus should actually just not revolve on knowing the concerns or the pain points, but also addressing the needs of our customers, the emotional needs, just like what Khwanchai mentioned earlier. It's about knowing their personality, their behavior, what makes them happy, what frustrates them, how they communicate, and even the changes in their activities and lifestyle, just like what's happening right now in the pandemic. And when we talk about customers, we also should always include the internal customers, the team members, the employees, because it will be difficult for us, it will be challenging for us to innovate if our employees are not really that motivated, if they are tired, and if they are not ready to accept the changes or to work with the changes. So we really need to also consider the internal pain points, the internal personalities and challenges of our internal customers. And all of these are actually very important so that we can understand and so that we can translate it to the products and services that we are offering and providing our customers. And so on top of delighting our customers, we can actually make a connection. And I think that's especially during this pandemic, it's very important that we build a connection to our customers, because they would go to brands, they would go to banks, they would go to companies wherein they can connect, wherein they can relate, that they know that these businesses understand who they are, understand their needs. And one last thing, when we are talking about innovation, we have to keep certain basic elements that our customers are always looking for. And these are simplicity and convenience, availability and timeliness, quality and accuracy. I believe that these are key things that all customers are looking for in any service or any product that they want to purchase or they want to engage with. So, and if we consider all of that, just like what my colleagues mentioned here or my peers mentioned here, that will actually give us an opportunity to provide the best customer experience as we continue to innovate for our customers.
Wow, Pepper, that was an amazing response. Like there's so much to unpack there, but I really, really loved the thing that stood out to me most was it said you can't innovate if the employees are not motivated. And I think that resonates so much right now with COVID. I think we're all in this like languishing feeling where it's really hard to stay motivated. Singapore just extended our lockdown by another month and I'm about to pull my hair out. But it's such an important thing, right? Because you can invest so much as a company on processes around employee experience design, customer experience design, technology. But if you don't have the people that are willing and ready to adapt to that and to make those changes, then it's a waste. Then it's a huge waste of time and money, right? So I think that's a really important point that you brought up. So I thought that was really insightful. You know, and I love this theme about talking about making a connection, right? We're all here, unfortunately, on our screens, right? When this is, you know, before would have been done in person, probably in some fabulous place in Southeast Asia on some beautiful islands. And unfortunately, we're all here in our houses doing this virtually. So absolutely, the need to make a connection is so strong, you know, and to continue to keep that customer loyalty, but also to keep innovating, right? And keeping your promises to the customer that we're going to be there for you in, you know, the future and tomorrow and moving forward. So thank you so much. That was a really, really, really great answer. So let's just go on to the next question here. So how can financial service be future ready with customer-led digital innovation? So again, how can financial service be future ready with customer experience led digital transformation? So how about I go to Anthony for this question?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great one. So I think in all honesty, I mean, just financial services in general, you should be measuring all these different touch points that you have and understanding how people are reacting to all the different touch points that you can interact with them through. But I think the more important thing is, you know, as we talk about innovation and having new products and new ideas that people can actually grab a hold of, I think we need to be co-creating with our customers. I think that's the best way to do it. And design thinking is like what comes to mind is let's build the right thing. You know, what is it that our customers need? And I think in the past, banks have been kind of slow to adopt some of these things and adopt the ideas that customers want. And we've seen that popping up all over the globe where these smaller companies, these financial tech companies are coming in and they're basically creating these peer-to-peer lending networks. They're creating ways in which you can virtually pay somebody over time. And now those are starting to get woven in, and we're a little bit late to getting to the game there. But I think if we're talking to our customers and really truly empathizing with them, so, you know, just not understanding the emotional piece, but understanding cognition and the compassion that goes into that, then we can essentially drive loyalty through enrichment rather than just advocacy. So we want to be creating those great experiences that really draw people back in, and they're a pleasure and they're easy to actually utilize and do what we need to do on them. Banking isn't very exciting, so finding ways to innovate and really make people's lives easier is essentially what's going to drive that change. And by co-creating with your customers, I feel like that's the best way to do it. And also, I think one of the other things that was mentioned earlier was there's these complementary services out there. How do we partner with them to kind of put those pieces together as well? And I think that's something that there's been a lot of resistance to, especially in this industry. But working together in some of these areas could be huge for the sector in general.
So I have a couple of things there that I want to talk about. So first question I have for you on that answer is, how do you suggest that companies co-create with their customers? I think that's a really great concept, but then how do you actually go about doing it?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of methods out there to actually, cause that or facilitate that. I mean, obviously doing surveys, things, measurements, benchmarks is a great way to do that, but that's always looking back. So a lot of times what we need to do is doing things like focus groups virtually. I mean, like we're doing here, we're just having a conversation. I think if you can have a conversation with your customers, and there's a lot of services that offer some of that, user testing being one of those, but having that conversation and really understanding what is it that's going to move the needle for you, what is going to make an impact on your experience, and just talk to them. But you have to do that when you're early, when you're developing these products. Otherwise, you go down a road where you've developed something and now it's 100x to basically take that out, rebuild it, and package it the way people can actually use it.
Yeah, and I, you mentioned fintech, and I agree, fintech definitely is a disruptor, and it's it's done a really good job of going to market very quickly and kind of being able to overstep some of those frustrations that I think kind of legacy banks have had, because there's so much, digital, legacy processes and legacy technologies they have to deal with that maybe the fintech companies don't. So I definitely agree with you on that disruptive piece. One thing I might have to disagree with you politely on is that I think banks are really exciting. I think that there's so much digital transformation which is happening right now, and it is a very old industry, right? And that's why I think it's so cool and interesting right now, because like at least ServiceNow, I think ServiceNow is investing more in the financial services industry than I think any other space, because it is such a space which is rapidly changing. There's so much disruption, and companies need to find out ways they can innovate their operations, and how can they keep up with these fintech companies, and how can they really drive productivity and efficiency while keeping the customer at the center of everything, and keeping your employees happy, and keep improving their loyalty. So I don't know. I think I'm a little bit of a nerd. Maybe I find banking very exciting. I have great conversations with my banking customers, and sometimes things do take a little longer for sure, but it's also some of the most rewarding things that you can see happen when an organization's having rapid and huge transformation and the way they've been doing things for a long time. So yeah, thank you for your answer very much. How about Arivuvel? How do you find that? Would you like me to repeat the question?
No problem. Thanks. Understand. Guys, I look at a little different because being a Tonik bank, it's not a normal bank. We are born in cloud, and with the key pillar for us is the customer-centric design experience, and we are a neo bank, not just by name. So I look at the customer experience, the digital customer journey in little different angle. Even though we talked about customer experience as one scale of digital acquisition, servicing, and engagement, and create stickiness. But when you go down to the market, or especially in Southeast Asia market, there are different segment of customers need differentiated experience. There are young, mass affluent, emerging affluent, and subprime. We are most of the banks, we look at prime, super prime, but we are not looking at subprime as well. I'm talking about financial inclusions, how you can really bring them into on board and provide the differentiated experience, because the opportunity out there is not with the HMIs and super primes. We are talking about, for example, in Philippines, 110 million customer, the people living out there. Out of that, more than 65% are unbanked today. And we talk a lot, but we're not touching the problem. They need different things. There are people spread out across 8,300 islands, for example, one country I'm talking about. So then the way of engagement and the experience is little different. For example, one segment they'll say, hey, I don't want to meet you. I don't want to talk to you. Can you provide me a service? The second one of the segment, they'll say, I will only text you. Can I? Other segment says, hey, still I need a physical face. I want to walk and meet and do, talk to someone. And so this all impossible to set up a branch everywhere, and putting everything in digital is not impossible. So you look at different wants and needs in a specific vertical of segment. For us, we categorize this pain point addressing in 3 areas. One is hyper personalization per segmentation, then which means Tonik versus Tonik Light. When you talk about young mass affluent, emerging affluent, where they are digitally savvy, and I don't need to teach them. They know they are the better people today. They want what they exactly want. We need to meet them. There's another hand where the financial inclusion and people use $40, $50 phones, and how you address them market is that guided approach. So second one is the customer-centric local product innovation. We talk about customer experience, but the customer experience need to go with the local product innovation. And that bring them, the journey is more complete. And the third one is the omni-channel customer experience servicing angle. So when I talked about 3 segments, the hyper-personalization, nothing but our friend talked about design thinking. You go to the market, do the research, do the focus group, do a prototype, do a quick pilot rollout. Then you understand whether the particular customer segment is it an intuitive customer app design? They're looking for elegant and quick. But most of the things today, what we learn as a Tonik in the ground, people want quick and agility and the end-to-end experience, and how quickly you can servicing them. For example, when I say onboarding today, the biggest pain point, none of the bank is solving it. How quickly you can onboard the customers, and so, that's how quickly you can allow them to fund the account, the basic one. And then once you fund it, are you touching base with them what they want? For example, I don't want to buy your kids saving product. Allow me to create my own product. It's a personalized saving. Or if it is go to the local, can you do a communal saving? These are the localized product innovation, which typically we learn from the focus group. And the one area I want to lastly touch upon is the impossible to open a multiple branch. It is not really a beneficial or profit making, even though the earlier all the customer centricity, built on branch. Now the world of digital, we want to find a way how to create this online and a physical touch point linking. This is where the challenging, where we work with the partner ecosystem. One of them, Pierre is talking about, we're working with ground level, all the aggregators like 7-Eleven, Cebuana, all these guys. You work with the aggregator, bringing them in the digital virtual outlets, servicing the customer which they really want to meet you. Instead of searching your bank branch, looking at the outlet, go to them, give the physical money, fund it, or do a cash out at outlets, or do the bill payments and other engagement, buying a product. So that's a co-creation along with the partners, with the customers, and completing the journey and the differentiated experience. That is the the key way things to achieve. That's my value added.
Thank you for your very valuable inputs. Just the people who are not familiar, maybe could you just give us a quick 30 seconds on what actually is Tonik and how it's different from a traditional bank?
Awesome. So Tonik is a privately owned retail neobank, completely virtual, no physical branches, and we are based out of Singapore, and that's how we headquarters Tonik Financials set up in Singapore, and we have shared service R&D in India. We built everything mostly in-house, and we are first to pilot market. We got into Philippines. We got the license in November 2019, and we launched our pilot operation in November 2020, and we are almost 8 to 9 months servicing Filipino client through mobile only channel as of now, and we're within less than 8 months we are about close to $100 million for deposit collected, and we are launched almost like 5 deposit products and 2 lending products and a few payment rails connected with deposits and lending and payments. So 3 key pillar part of MVP.
Cool. Very good. Very good. So just for fun, Pepper, as a traditional bank in the Philippines, how do you kind of see this emergence of the digital virtual bank emerge, in your market? How do you think that's going to affect your operations? Will it affect things? What's your thoughts?
Well, currently here in the Philippines, I think based on different regions, just like what my peers here mentioned, that the connectivity, the availability of technology on different parts of the country is actually varied. So these are variables, these are concerns that we actually put into consideration. So even though we are moving to digitalization, we still have to consider the limitations of some of our customers, the concerns that they have within their area. Maybe they want to go digital, but the availability of the technology or the connectivity in their particular region or area is not that strong. So that might cost them, instead of giving them a good experience, it might actually be a drawback instead. And since it's going to be the first time that they will be trying on this new platform, and if they try it for the first time and it did not work, they may no longer be receptive to accepting or migrating to a digital platform. That's why first-time use of a technology is very, very important. Guiding them and teaching them on how to use the products, basically, especially here in the Philippines, most Filipinos are very traditional. Pre-pandemic, most Filipinos don't want to go on mobile banking, online platform. They fear that something might fail and they might lose all their money. That's the way Filipinos are normally wired, because they would go to a practice or to a system wherein they're already confident, that has been tried and tested. And the good thing, because most banks, I think everyone globally has the foresight to innovate even before the need of the people, the real need to go digital. The mobile banking has already been available, arising from the fact that everybody has their mobile phones and they can download the applications anytime and everybody's on the go. And I think that actually gave more people the confidence that if I'm going to use this platform, if I'm going to use this banking app, this has been out there for a while. It's just that I haven't tried it. Yeah. So there is a level of confidence and security that if it's working for others, maybe I should try it now. So that's actually a good thing. And another thing is that whenever we are innovating or whenever we're developing a digital platform, it is very important that we keep the human factor. We still keep the personalized element on the platform. For example, the rise of the chatbots are now, I think most companies are now doing chatbots. And when we do a chatbot, we don't want it to appear like the customer is talking to a robot or a machine. We want it to be personalized. So what we do, like for us, we name our chatbot Erica, and it has a face so that people can easily identify and they can relate that, oh, I'm talking to a person. So even the responses will make it more human, will make it more conversational, so that it will be easier for them to transition, knowing that, oh, there's still a human element. They respond to my need, same as if I'm going to call a contact center. But just like what Arivuvel mentioned, some people are not yet that ready. That's why we keep our omni-channel platforms. So for customers who might not be that tech savvy, we have our contact centers. So they can call us, they can email us. And at the same time, for those who might have connectivity issues, we offer a mobile technology like SMS assisted services. And that could actually greatly help our customers. So giving them more options, giving them the decision on which platform they think that they'll be more confident to go to. Basically, when we transition, we'll just have to show them that it's just a channel of service that is changing, but the same kind of information, the same kind of service is what they'll get, even if they go to the chatbot, even if they go to the contact center. Because that's the only concern, I think, especially here in the Philippines, that most people have. is that feeling that if I go digital, it is just offering a linear kind of service. It's a generic. It's something that's giving you canned responses. But if we keep the human element there, then they will be more receptive to the idea of transitioning to a digital platform.
Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, the human factor, it definitely is a big part of Filipino culture, which is, I think, what makes the country so beautiful. I think it's great. I'm just a little mindful of time, so I want to keep on this topic, but I think we should also go to the next question. So maybe at the end, if you have anything you want to add to this topic on digital banks, we can include it in our closing remarks. But for our next question, I want to talk about how can we digitize processes to become more proactive, predictive, and resilient. We've talked a lot today about being agile, about understanding the customer, putting them at the center of everything. So how can we use processes to become more proactive, predictive, and resilient? Chatrudee, did you want to answer that one?
Oh, yes. Thanks for the patience. Actually, the internal process need to be digitized. We have a lot of the technologies that we can apply at the moment. So as many people mentioned about the personalized to the customers, I think we need to be more flexible for the customer. We need to provide them the channel that they prefer, not only what we have. So the personalization for the customer, we can proactively serve them the service, or even prepare or plan some things. So the digitization process is coming in the picture, and many process internal, starting from the marketing up until the operations internally organization. I think we should have the process that digitize that have the data, both structured data or unstructured data, to drill down to let us know more productively in terms of the customer behavior and the real need. The real need of the customer is very important. So then we can know the value proposition that we can bring to them. This is very important. We should provide something that create a value for the customer, and then we can engage them. So all technologies that we can apply at the moment in the market, but most importantly is about the design of the customer journeys from the front state back to the up until the back state internal organizations. Because of the good or the superior customer experience could not be happened if we only building at only the front, right? Because of all the process in back state will be internal organizations. So the digitization process should be designed from the front end touch point for the customer up until the operations internally. And we can, for do this, we can even work more efficiently and reduce the cost to serve to the customers. Yeah, that what is very important. Not only the front, and should be the back office, or the people that they work together in the value chain. We need to let them to think about the same customers, so then they can highlight the cooperate and digitize the process together from the front up to the back office. Yeah,
I think that was spot on. I mean, we see a lot of companies investing a lot in that kind of front end customer engagement piece, right? Which is, your contact center technology, which is great, but it really isn't effective unless you have, like you said, that end-to-end technology, the end-to-end process is aligned. And it really is a combination of technology, process, design of that customer experience in order to make it all work. So I really like what you said, we have to all work together in the value chain, which I think is great. So yeah, I mean, we're seeing the same thing. It's really, and also bringing in the data, right? So if a customer contacts, it goes into the branch, or they contact the contact center, and they're asking about something, maybe it's just like a, I don't know, a deposit or something like that. But then the agent should be able to be empowered to say, oh, I see you have a credit card with us, but, did you know actually we can increase you to a better card today, or get you more perks or something like that? Or, hey, did you know that today we can actually lower your loan interest rate? Like, you've just made my day, and you also probably got to the bank an additional revenue, right? So it is really having that process, that data all in one place to be able to empower people to delight customers and to surprise them. So I thought that was really great response, Chatrudee. Yes. Kun Khwanchai, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Okay, thank you for question. Okay, I want to share my perspective now. The 10 customer is the behavioral chain, so almost people interact with digital channel, right? And then in the GSB Bank now we established for new unit like digital operation. So we try to combine the customer touch point like a physical branch, that meaning internal customer contact to digital branch, and then call center and social media channel like that. For example, we have a challenge to embrace digitalization to improve customer experience. Okay. The challenge is 94 and 7 digital bank branch to support customer and support multi-channel or customer service requests. And now we have a challenge that are able to track service request data, and this continues the customer service. So we explore the first one we explore is about digital service channel, and second one we try to improve end-to-end process automation. Okay, that the meaning of pure digital, right? So the approach we try to leverage the speed with a low-code platform to establish a new innovation, internal process improvement, and then for customer interaction. And we can create prototype mobile app like for service like service catalog. This is the for customer service, right? And then we test that and find the app alongside business activity, and customer and service data automatic record, and we try to do data is a route to write the unit support using workflow automate, and we define SLA management. And finally, we have a BI report provide real-time view, allow focus on individual and device and monitoring the trend like customer and our staff to customer support. We explore this customer support. This one, the benefit is improve productivity and efficiency, and increase the customer satisfaction and happier staff, and decrease response time for resolving issue. That's why digital process the help us the predictive and understand customer more than before. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. I like that. I think that was, I think really aligned to many things that Chatrudee said. And, one of the things that stood out was low code, no code. And that's definitely a huge trend that we've seen, I think, in the last 12 months. If it's not low code, no code, like don't touch it. Because who has time to just deal with, huge team of developers and change requests and having to deal with that whole process of getting things done. You need to be able just to configure things quickly and get it out to market. So that definitely resonates. I'm mindful of time. I think we have about 7 minutes left. So I do want to get back to Anthony over here. So really, really quickly, Anthony, in a minute or two, how do you think we could create a customer first mindset that's critical for long-term financial success?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that have been said that have already kind of guided us in that right direction. I think by, one of the things that we kind of touched upon a couple of times so far was employee engagement. Are your employees really feeling connected with the experience? Are they, themselves having experiences that are working for them and having the empowerment that they need to actually help customers to solve their problems? I think that's going to be a big component of it. And I really think that that's going to help drive change. I think the other thing is, things like next best action. IBM did a lot of research on that quite a few years ago. And what they said was, well, ultimately from the customer's position anyway, what the customers were saying was, I've been a customer of you for X number of years. You should know me inside and out. You should know the things that I spend my money on. You should be able to suggest, what is that card that I should be thinking about, or what loan might work better for my situation. So customers want to kind of feel that. And then I think the last component of it is really bringing that emotional component back into it. What is it that's really going to drive me to, feel a connection with that? I think humanizing the digital experiences is a huge piece of that. I think naming the chatbot was awesome. I would suggest that to anybody that does that. So that was a great job. But really just kind of being, that I guess I go back to the co-creation with your customers, but really just kind of, benchmarking and, making the adjustments that people need to see happen. One of the big pitfalls that I saw working with companies here in the US is they would get all these suggestions and they would know what they would have to do, and then they wouldn't implement it. And then they'd wonder, okay, well, scores are going down. Well, yeah, because you haven't changed anything and your competition has. So that's kind of the thing to be mindful about. And that's something that you can get left in the dust very easily over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that really resonates. And I like how you talk about employee engagement. I feel like that's become also another big trend this year, maybe because everybody's remote and is like struggling. But, more and more research shows, right? If you have happy employees, that trickles down to your customers. So, I think previously, a lot of us have focused a lot on customer experience. We have to keep our customers happy, but really we can be focusing first on our employees. And if we can make our employees happy, then our customers will also be happy. And there's been so much data to support that. So I thought that was really great. And I also like the next best action thing. You want to feel like the company like that you're dealing with knows you, they like you, they love you enough to like understand what products you're interested in, how to serve you better. So I really like that as well. So we have about 4 minutes left. So maybe if we can, in like 30 seconds ish, 30 seconds to a minute, maybe just give your closing remarks, final thoughts on this topic around how to use innovation to drive customer experience and scale and the business forward. So Arivuvel, would you like to share your closing thoughts?
Perfect. So I hear a lot of my peers sharing detail. All I would advise is, people in Southeast Asia need financial services, not banking. So take the bank out of banking and look at, humanized, personalized services to the people, unneeded people with the right personalized product. That strategy really helps and grow and, serve the people better. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was just actually informed that we have a bit more time. So if you guys want, so sorry, I was just informed. If you guys would like to share, you guys have a bit more than 30 seconds. You want to spend a couple minutes sharing your final thoughts. I was just given that notification. So Pepper, would you like to go next? Oh, you're on mute, my dear.
Okay. Well, again, this is a very interesting discussion that we had. First thing, I want to share that whenever we're talking about innovation, especially when it comes to customer experience, we should always focus on the inter, and meta perspective of things. It's not just going to be a one aspect of the business or just one area, but it's going to be a 360 degrees view of what will be the customer experience, and that would be for both internal and external customers. So as I mentioned, the human factor should always be there. And the buy-ins, not just of your customers, but also of your internal customer, is very important. Analyzing the capacity of your workforce, the system availability, to make sure that you support a seamless process or system. Because once you deliver it to your customers, it is very important that they will have a smooth and seamless experience. Otherwise, if no matter how good the innovation is, if they try it for the first time and they had a bad experience, then it will not be a success. So the first launch is actually key to making sure that our customers adapt to the innovation that we are presenting to them.
Very good. I like that. It's true. If you mess it up the first time, the customer probably isn't going to come back, and they might even like leave and go somewhere else. So I absolutely agree with that. Khwanchai, any closing remarks?
Okay, thank you. I think the company should have a differentiate CX and digital information have a 4 perspective. Number 1 is about customer engagement. Number 2 is customer insight. Number 3 is customer intelligence. Number 4 is augmented intelligence. That is the 4 perspective should be understand and try to improvement the customer experience by our 4 perspectives. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Chatrudee?
Yes, thank you. I think I agree with all of the audience that share the idea. I just another view is that I think about when we need to deliver or do some like innovations for the customers, right? I think the combination of the things is very important. That it could be something like what the customer needs. It would be the desirable for the customers. It's really what they want. It's really feasibility. I mean the business feasibilities is be that, and the third part, it will be the viable in terms of the technologies. I think all the things together, it will be create the innovations for the customers. Otherwise, it could be something else that just maybe something that the customer don't need or not create the business, kind of like that. So to do this thing, I think in the develop the process, innovate the customer service, launch the preferred channel for the customer. Even we go to the digital era in the current, in the next, in the today world or the next, the near futures. I think it's not really the pure digitals. It could be human together with the digitals. You have like the mobile banking, or you launch something for the customer. The human could be there for the people. Eventually, when they need something help, they need help, they need something to ask, the vision should have something that, or some channel that can engage them, can help them, can support them to complete the things. That's really important. And I think the most important that the organization could move toward the customer-centric organization could be the people in the organizations. We need to also put the importance to our people also. Need to upskill and also not only the mindset of the customer mindset, it could be the right skill and the right mindset for our people also to bring, to create that innovation for the customer. I think our people is very important to make it happen. Yeah, and the right mindset and the right skill set can help and support the organization to achieve that thing. Yeah.
Very good, very good. I really like that about the human plus digital. You know, I think we see a lot of that, and the most effective organizations are the ones that, you know, they have a chatbot because they want, you know, you should be able to self-serve on most common issues, but you should be able to give somebody the option to go to talk to a live person if they need to, and if they need that human touch and interaction. So I absolutely agree with that. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time as we see more and more of that happening. Anthony, how about you? Any closing remarks?
Yeah, sure. I think, I mean, I love this conversation. I think there was a lot of great ideas kind of shared throughout this, but I think, you know, I mean, knowing your customer and the journey that they take, but knowing why they take the path that they take, I think is the more important question that should be answered. I think benchmarking your key actions or your key paths is also going to be helpful so that you're not losing ground over time to other companies who might be innovating faster than you are. I think meeting customers where they are at, I love that phrase. I think that's great. I think that's how you should always be thinking about, you know, where they are, what's going to really connect with them, and how to humanize those different touch points, because you can't do that if you're not meeting them where they are. I think, you know, and I kind of tease this at the beginning, but I think, you know, in the past, there's been such a big focus on advocacy. You know, how many people are you going to recommend? And I think that's kind of a miss for financial services, because it's about trust. So being able to build trust over time through retention and actually delighting your customers as their members or as they're doing business with you, I think is going to go a lot farther for driving revenue for organizations, more so than just advocacy would, because it's all about trust in financial services. And I think that's kind of the key tenet of it.
I so agree with that. Like several, I mean, gosh, how many years ago? Like 8 years ago, I was working with one of the big e-commerce companies in Southeast Asia. And I won't name names, but they were so focused on customer acquisition. Like it was like just growth, more customers, but they did not care at all about the loyalty or any about that. And like, you know, data shows repeatedly that it's so much more expensive to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. And an existing one's going to spend, I think the number that I saw from like Forrester was they're going to spend 10 times as much with you as a new customer would. So why wouldn't you invest more in your existing customers? So Anthony, yeah, that really, really resonates. And I think a lot of us can really agree with that. So we have a few minutes left. Should I ask the MC, are there any questions in the Q&A for the panelists here?
Hey, Alicia, firstly, wonderful conversation going on, absolutely glued to the screen. Well, currently there aren't any questions from the audience, but we'd, as you rightly are conducting the closing remarks, we'd love towards the end a conclusion from your side as well, Alicia. We're just looking forward for that as well.
Okay, sure. I think first I'd like to say for anybody attending today, if you'd like to reach out to myself or the panelists on LinkedIn, please do reach out. I think everyone here is like a lot of great thoughts and ideas that they're happy to share. And yeah, so just for me, like, yeah, look, I think ServiceNow has the goal and ambition to really help combine, you know, people and technology with processes to really help drive business forward, right? We make the world of work better for people. And I think that really resonates in the conversation today around innovation and customer experience. So how are you going to continue to leverage this data and put it into the processes you have in the banks today to really help move businesses forward? And you know, I'm just so excited to see how the space is going to evolve over the next like 1 to 2 years, because I think it's changing so fast. I do agree with Anthony. Maybe in the past, banking was a little bit less exciting, a little bit less, maybe a little bit boring, but I think there's so much rapid innovation happening in this space today, focusing on this. And there's so much competition from the digital banks, from the fintech companies, that organizations know now they really have to move things forward. You know, I look in the Philippines, a company like Gcash, right, which has a crazy reach, right? I mean, it's been around, it was one of the first fintech companies, I think, in Asia. And they've just done a phenomenal job of being available, being really easy to use, and they've gained market share. And I think that a lot of the traditional banks now have kind of said, okay, we need to figure out how to be more digital friendly and be easy to use. And they've kind of taken that lead to move things forward. Right. Okay, so if there's no other comments, I just think the panelists very much for your time today.
No, absolutely, Alicia. So before we conclude, I'd just like one word from everyone. Anthony, how you're feeling right now about the innovation in our space? Just one word towards the end, Anthony.
I think we're really moving towards it, and conversations like this, I think, are helping immensely with this specific industry in opening up the dialogue to have a conversation to understand what can we do to really make things easier and better for our customers.
Right, that's amazing. You know, conversations really help. Arivuvel, your last, word on the innovation front. Over to you.
No, Bhavna, today, I think when we look at even the panel, we have a combination of, traditional banks and neobank and, from the technology provider. This is the amazing partnership where perfectly fit to work together as a ecosystem. Right. To bring the innovation, and we are in the right track. I think we have to embrace this into the right direction to succeed and bring more innovative product to our customers. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I'd also like to ask Khwanchai your final thoughts on the innovation front. Over to you.
Okay. As we know now, the consumer banking trend have changed. In terms of maybe a branchless banking that enable online banking capability to be a standard as branch, and now the customer goal-based selling leverage should be the leverage AI to drive recommendation aligned to customer financial goal, and like open banking API is to drive a partnership. With a new partner. This is the new trend in the future.
Right. Thank you. Pepper, your last comment on innovation.
Yeah, thank you. I think right now this is already the palette. The customers have the palette now for innovation. So this is actually a great time for us to start introducing new technologies to our customers, and at the same time marrying it to their needs, because this is the perfect moment for them to be trying out and be receptive with the idea compared to the pre-pandemic. So I think we are in the right path right now, and discussions like this, identifying what really the customer wants is something that actually could help us all. And again, as Arivuvel mentioned, creating an ecosystem for our customers, seamless, regardless of what financial services or banking industry, having that seamless connection in technology that is easy for them to use, easy for them to access, is something that I think is very timely and relevant right now.
Right. And your last comments, Chatrudee, over to you. about the innovation front?
Yes, I similarly to others companies, we are working on many things. As mentioned earlier, and we try to maintain our core business, meaning that it keep improving in terms of the customer experience. Explore for the new business opportunities, and definitely partner is and building, playing in the ecosystem. This is one part that we look at that. We could be a partner with someone, or we can be like banking as a service to others, use our strong strengths of the banking service for others. And also building the omni-channel experience. This is one of the things that we are in the pipeline. We are working heavily on that, as we believe that integrated with digital and physical channel or the human is very important. And I think the customer experience nowadays is not only the provide the functionality and the emotionality to the customer. It could be help out our customer to achieve their goal, meaning that it could be something that they can go further beyond only the traditional experience. That I think every organization will be think about functional and emotional already, but we need to think beyond that for the customer, and a lot more to come in this digital world, and a lot of customer that we need to think about it. Even the customer segmentations, we could not just think about the life state of the customer. We need to think about the segment as one, meaning that the group of the customer or the community of the customer is kind of like that. So it's the complexities of the market is quite changed a lot. So the banking landscape could be changed as well, and definitely the innovation could be happen for them and help them to achieve their goal. Yeah, and a lot of things in our organizations also work around that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Well, if you liked our conversation, all you got to do is just comment with the hashtag TressConCX, and for all our eminent panelists, if you like the conversation, a thumbs up from your side, 1 for if you liked it, or 2 if you loved it. So if you've loved it, why don't we all do a big thumbs up for each other? Let's have a great time, great conversations. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you once again. Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone. Bye.